no place like the Qube. Hey, I'm Adell.
And I'm Anna.
And we are AD Productions. Get ready to nod your head and laugh out loud as we bring an unfiltered perspective to Black life in predominantly white spaces. So, welcome to the Head Nod, Season 1, Black Life at a PWI.
At the PWI, where faces are pale, in the Black Student Union, our spirits...
I'm sorry.
I was trying to hold it together.
I tried. I was like, hold on.
Dang it.
That thing said pale. Okay.
I was trying to hold it together.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
it wrote.
sorry.
At the PWI, where faces are pale, in the Black Student Union, our spirits prevail. Unified vibes where culture takes flight. In this space, we celebrate every night.
Welcome to the Head Nod.
Boom, boom, boom.
Today, we are joined with Vanessa. Vanessa is a native of DC, PG County. We will claim her for DC. She straddles both the corporate and entrepreneurial realms. She leads a high-performance team. She spearheads alliances for cybersecurity organizations, Tier 1 partnership across the Americas. Additionally, Vanessa is the founder and lead planner of Little Black Book events, leveraging over 10 years of industry expertise to passionately curate unique and unforgettable experiences for clients. Welcome, Vanessa. It's yeah. We're glad to have you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So for all of our guests, we always ask, can they give us their name, which we know, but you can say it again, their schools, and the call out from their school. So like for me, I went to Penn State, so we are Penn State. For Anna, they're
DU.
All right. And so, Vanessa, what's yours?
So I went to Davidson College in North Carolina, and we are the Wildcats.
So do you have to say we are Wildcats? Is that how
we are Wildcats?
Okay, nice. Cool. So we're so excited to have you on the show. I'm a little bit extra excited because big secret, not so big secret. Vanessa did my wedding, and it was amazing. So yeah, there's that. All right, back to what we're here for. So we always ask, what made you choose a PWI?
Yeah, so I went to all girl white private school for high school. I went to a predominantly white school for middle school. I have 3 sisters, and my oldest sister went to public school for high school, and my parents are basically like, yeah, no, we're not doing that for everybody else. So,
oh, dang.
The pathway changed for me based on her experience. And so from there in college, my mom just was she had a vision. And I applied to I think 11 schools. Most of them were PWIs. I think I may have applied to Spelman as well. And it was about the money. It was where I could get the money, who wanted me bad enough to pony up the dollars. So that's ultimately why I chose a PWI.
They did have some good money, okay, for that DEI. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Absolutely, they did.
Yeah.
They did.
I love how you broke down DEI. So she was such emphasis on it. I'm not mad
because
at
they're
it.
trying to, because they're working to get rid of it. So yeah.
Yeah,
this is how we were able to be there. It was coughing up the change.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Yeah. So Vanessa, what did you study?
So I studied sociology with a minor in criminology. So coming into school, believe it or not, I thought I wanted to work for law enforcement, like FBI. I interned with NCIS for a summer. Considered briefly going to West Point, which now that I think about it is that would never have worked for me. But and then got into criminology, and that sort of morphed into reform, prison reform. I did an internship at a prison where I was going to a prison every day. So that was kind of my path through school.
Wow.
And Adell says you planned their wedding, huh? So we went from
right. I was thinking the same thing, Anna. Prison reform, interning at prisons to plan beautiful events.
Vanessa, we got a lot to dig in here. Okay, I'm so interested to see where we landed.
Yes.
Okay,
what made you want to take up criminology? Like, why did you want to go to school for that?
I was always interested in, like, I'm a puzzle solver. I'm a problem solver. And so, like, I liked that element of it. And so, like I said, I did an internship at NCIS, the Naval Criminal Investigative Services, under a Black woman, and I really enjoyed it. And so that was kind of my first exposure to that type of agency. And I thought it was, kind of cool. But then, like I said, it morphed into sort of like the other side of the coin when you think about criminology. And, I had the chance to spend some time with some prisoners in the North Carolina system, and my heart sort of shifted in that direction. Then at my senior year, my uncle actually is in technology, and I came home one summer and he was like, what are you doing with your life? I was like, oh, I think I'm going to work for a nonprofit. And he's like, oh my God, you're never going to make any money. Give me a resume. And then I ended up that was my entry into the tech world, which, has been really good for me. And then weddings, I've always been a planner. My sister got married maybe 12, 13 years ago, and I helped plan her wedding. And then other people asked me to help with stuff after that. And it was kind of like, oh, like, I'm kind of good at this. And like, people will pay me to do this. And then I opened up a business, and here I am 10 years later. That's
awesome. And it's cool how, like, the connections kind of got you from one step to the other. Like, your uncle's like, oh, no, we're not doing this. So what was it like the first day walking on campus? Because I know you said you went to a few schools where, went to private school and it was mostly like white. Was it any different? How did you feel walking onto campus?
Well, and my experience was a little bit unique with Davidson. They had a program where they brought juniors on for a summer, high school juniors. So you spent 3 weeks on campus, just, you took classes, and, it was maybe a group of about 50 other students. And so I had been on campus and lived on campus prior to that experience. So it was good because I felt a bit more comfortable, I think, maybe than others, because I had already had that experience on campus. And then the other piece of it is Davidson did what we call pre-orientation. So essentially they brought the students of color onto campus about a week and a half before all the other students to do different classes. I mean, some of it was a bit remedial looking back on it, to be honest. And I think it was all meant to kind of help people and level set them in a way. And just give people a chance to bond before kind of being thrown into the larger student body. So my first experience as a college student was through this pre-O program. And so that was fun and exciting because you were meeting the other Black people on campus and sort of a safer space.
We've only heard positive things with these like pre-Os. We don't call it this episode.
Yes.
And I think colleges are doing a really nice job of getting high school students on campus before the madness ensues with the other 30,000 people.
The quiet before the storm.
Yeah. So you're not the first person to say that. So I think that that's really, really dope.
Yeah.
So what was it like kind of transitioning into like this pre-O where it's like a few Black folk kind of wandering and that, we're here. And then when, as Anna called it, the madness arrived. Like, what was that like, that transition?
Yeah. I mean, I had, I was living with somebody, random roommate, which was fine. I mean, it was nice to have some foundational relationships already built. And I think that gives you license to branch out and meet other people, right? Because it's not make or break at that point because you already have a group, so you can be friendlier with other people. But Davidson is Southern. It's right outside of Charlotte. It's a one stoplight town. I think they got more stoplights now, but when I went there, it was a one stoplight town. It was the girls with pearls type of vibe, and that was new to me coming from DC. And so, you did have the questions about like your hair and that kind of thing, which, I went to a white school, so it wasn't like completely shocking to me. But the Southern aspect of it, because I went to school in DC with a lot of people whose parents were politicians or ambassadors or worked for the World Bank or whatever. So they had sort of more cultural experience, and not that, made them the best of allies, but they did have more exposure to different things. So you did run into more people who, you may have been their first experience really with a Black person in that capacity. So that was interesting. It was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a real thing. I don't know if anybody has talked about that on this pod, but when we talk about intersectionality, we can always we sometimes forget like regional demographics of where you are socially located in comparison to other people, because that totally defines also who you are and how you show up in the world. Like going to school in rural Iowa, Chile. Them people definitely ain't seen no Black people. Those people,
it's different. It's different.
They representations of Black people is BET. Like they on farms, you know what I'm saying? So in the South, I mean, it's very similar.
Well, even things like people waving to you, and I'm like, do I know you? Like, why are you waving at me?
or like the white people smile when you're walking past, and they're like,
I'm sorry, like, did I meet you somewhere? I'm sorry if I met you and I forgot what your name was. Like, but that was a normal thing down there. Me coming from DC, it was like, it was a little bit of culture shock for me to be like, oh, why is people being so friendly, quote unquote? You know what I mean? Why? Who are you? So
that's real. And then you said something like about how you were used to kind of like the hair thing. So what was that? Like, what was it around?
Yeah. So, flat iron your hair and the smell that, we all Black girls know what that smells like. Just like, what are you doing to your hair? Like, why are you using that type of thing? And I had, just kind of speaking about people having first experiences with Black people. I don't know why. Sometimes, white people feel really comfortable saying certain things to you, and you're just like, why did you feel like you could say that to me? So I had one girl tell me that her mother told her that when she got to college to date a Black man, to have that experience, not to marry, but that she should that she should have that experience as a part of her college experience. Once again, not sure why she felt like I needed to know that. She
just volunteered that information.
I didn't ask. I didn't ask. But and like I said, kind of that Southern, I think that probably has something to do with that Southern culture down there. But I thought that was really interesting.
And only for college, okay?
Yeah.
After these 4 years, that's done.
Don't bring them home. Just have the experience.
Clarification about it being an experience. Yes, absolutely.
Just imagine that conversation. Hey, sweetie, when you go down here to college, you go experience you a Black man, and that's it. And then don't marry him, but just like what? What is happening?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I was thinking about that too when you were talking about the hair piece, because I remember I used to wear braids all the time in school because it was a protective style. I wasn't about to do my hair. Then we were in the cold. Like I just, yep, absolutely. So I used to wear braids all the time. And I remember like I'd have like the little pixie braids one semester, and then I come back with like the long braids. And like I remember this one time I was in math class and this girl was like, your hair grew so much over the break. I'm like, yeah, girl, Black girl hair be growing with our products. And she was just like so amazed. I didn't think she believed me. And she like really did. Like she was fully invested. What are the products? How do they work? Well, they work for my hair. I'm like, this is literally.
Adell out here sending the white girls off. Way to go, Adell.
Listen, you got to. Because I didn't want her to touch my hair. So I'm just like, yeah, girl, we magical. Our hair just do things. That's
but that's a true statement, though. That's not a lie. Our hair does do things.
It does.
All types of things. Right. So, Vanessa, what did you get into on campus? What organizations were you a part of? Did you pledge? What were you doing?
So did a lot of things. Actually, so as a part of that PREO experience, some of the Black girls who were in my class, we decided to try out for cheerleading, and we put together a routine, had stunts, everything. Ooh. So, we showed up quite a bit differently than everybody else at the tryouts. And we were the first Black cheerleaders at Davidson in 2001, believe it or not.
Nice.
What?
So
wait. What? Y'all were the first Black cheerleaders ever in the history of Davidson in 2001?
2001.
have there been Black cheerleaders since?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I was the captain in my senior year, which was a cool experience. So yeah, I mean, we kind of it was a really proud moment, I think, for us. And like I said, we had this whole routine, and they kind of just had their mouths open at the end of our audition, like, wait, what is, yeah, this is a whole different level. But yeah, that was a really fun experience. Participated in the BSC, Black Student Coalition. Actually, part of my scholarship was a community service scholarship. So I did community service instead of work study, which is actually one of the reasons why I did really like Davidson. They did have a very community-based policies, I guess, or tilt at the school. And we just did a whole bunch of stuff. Like, we created a step team at one point. I mean, we just were like creating things that weren't in existence. I did not pledge. There were no Black sororities on campus. I don't know that I would have anyway. Like I said, I got 3 sisters. I got a rack of cousins. You were
good.
Born to one, I'm good. Yeah.
That's dope, though. It's like y'all kind of set a tone overall with like certain things on campus. Yeah. Do you remember?
Well, I think that's what we do. There's a void, and we fill the void.
Mm-hmm. And set the tone for future folk to come. I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm mad y'all just integrating schools, though, in 2001.
Right.
Like, I don't even know what to say about that, but I'm glad y'all showed up when you did. Okay,
I'm with it. Do you know the cheer? I know you still know it.
Girl, no, I don't.
Really?
The cheer.
I feel like she know it. Don't you, Anna? Look at her face. I feel like she knows.
There's too much stuff going on. I'm too old for that.
I feel you, but because it was like a pivotal moment and changed the game, I feel like part of it's stuck with you.
I do remember we did a choreographed dance to Sierra. Now, I'm sure that I do not remember what the actual dance was.
Can I just applaud y'all for taking full advantage of the pre-O situation? Like, other people just get to know each other, sit around and talk. They were planning things, okay? Like, they came up with a whole stunts, flips, twirls, everything just came in strong. Congrats.
Thank you.
I love it. That's what's up.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Okay, so on all of our shows, we have a few segments that we like to go through. And our first segment is called Rock On. Party on at this PWI. So was there any new music, white music, that you discovered in going to a PWI?
Yeah. One, I guess, that sticks out like that, you know how sometimes you're like, it's not a song that you would put on your playlist, but it comes on and you know all the words. And you're like, wow, I know all the words to that song. That's weird. I think Living on a Prayer is probably one that sticks out in my head as one that I got, indoctrinated with in college.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's actually a good song.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
It gets you amped. Like immediately.
It's a one of the their head banging songs.
Oh yeah, banging songs. Yeah. It's a good one.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
Our next segment is No Place Like Home. Right. So was there ever a point at your time at Davidson where you're like, maybe this is a little too much?
Yeah.
Maybe I need to go back home for a minute.
I don't know if I ever wanted to go home, but there were definitely some times of tension for me. I think two in particular stand out. So one, I was taking a religion course. I took several religion courses while I was at Davidson. It was, something I was interested in, and we were reading a text, and I can't even remember exactly what it was about, but it was by a Black author, and so there were some Black themes. It was being taught by a white professor, and there were 3 of us, 3 other Black students in the class, And I just remember it was an 8:30 a.m. class, which, on its head, it's never good to take those early morning classes. But I remember waking up and just during that time, I was feeling like I was going to throw up or just like feeling sick to my stomach because, it was literally one of those things where people would like whiplash and like look at you to see what are they responding or like what's their answer to this question. And it was so much anxiety that I built up like by just going to that class and feeling like I was responsible for delivering answers and whatever else, even though I was taking the class like everyone else. So that was a tough time for me. And I'd say the other one it actually has to do with relationships between us and the Black guys on campus. So I'm dating myself a little bit, but some of the Black guys on campus had a radio show, not a podcast, radio. You tuned in at a certain time, you listened to it. And they'd always make up songs about dumb stuff. And one time they made up a song about how they wanted to date the white girls, but not the Black girls. And they called us out by name.
Oh, no. Oh.
Yeah, it was pretty bold. And, it was all jokes and whatever else. But, and they had we got a Black fraternity on campus, the Alphas. And it had been this big campaign and we were super supportive. And like, it just felt kind of like, y'all could have just not said our names at all. Like you could have just had the song and not said it. Like, but why? So it was this big town hall, like at the Black students about like interracial dating and all this, and it became this whole big thing. But I just remember feeling like, and I had a boyfriend at the time who was going to the school, a Black guy who was on the basketball team. But just feeling like, was that even necessary? Like, why? Why did you feel the need to diminish us in that aspect in front of the school? You know what I mean? In front of the school.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's
tough. And like, I don't know, that just kind of took me like, that was very shocking because it's like, I get it. I get why you felt that way. And, even now hearing it, I felt triggered very much so, like even just kind of hearing you say it back, because that is actually something that we haven't really talked about, kind of some issues kind of within our own community. Because even when you're saying I didn't have to name names, I didn't have to make a song in the first place. Like, it's not even a conversation about interracial dating. If that's what you want to do you. But to like stand on this grand like platform and like diminish like the main folk that's supporting you just got something that wasn't on this campus. That's really messed up. I get why you felt that way 110%. Wow.
Yeah.
And those were conversations we had on campus all the time because it felt like the Black male athletes only dated the white girls.
Yep. Yeah.
And it was very obvious. Now, not taking into account that maybe they grew up around white folks, like that's who they're attracted to, that's what they know. That's fine. But it was definitely very clear that this was a thing. And we would talk about it all the time. People have very strong opinions about it. And it's something that people do not talk about out loud because don't nobody want to say prejudice. Okay. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's a very real thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when other ethnicities really don't. And so when Black people say, I want to date someone who is Black, right, it always becomes this thing. When in fact, it's not. It's just, this is who I want to date, right? But on campus, it was definitely a conversation that came up all the time because the Black women on campus definitely felt invisible to those Black men. And then they would say things like, oh, it's just because it was always sexual. It was just always sexual while they were dating these white women. And I'm like, well, that's not fair to them.
Right. It's wrong on both sides. Yeah.
It's wrong on both sides. Like, oh yeah, she do my laundry. A Black girl ain't gonna do my laundry. Child, do your own laundry. I mean, there was just so many. Everything they always said just felt like it was a dig at somebody on either side.
That's what I feel like. I agree because it's always something used to diminish someone, and I can't get with it. And I know like my school gets a bunch of campuses. So even though like University Park has like the big athletic programs, a lot of the other smaller campuses have like D2, D whatever. So it's still athletes on like even the other campuses, and you'll hear, like you said, stuff like that, or how like a lot of the Black athletes just want to date white women, and like the amount of Black women to Black men ratio will be crazy. Like it'll be like 10-1. So it's like you got all these Black women who are just like, hey, what's up? And they're just like, no, or like you said, condescending, diminishing, or just like dismissive, or it becomes like this whole thing. And then you feel slighted. And it's not even just, trying to date an athlete, but just kind of being amongst your people and kind of, the pickings be slim sometimes.
Well, yeah, and I think it went beyond athletes. I mean, Davidson was a small school. I think we had like 1,600. When I went, it was 1,600 people total. Post Steph Curry, it's a little bit bigger. But, I think it was also just like there is, and I'm not going to, get too much into this, but I think there is this sort of idea that, there's more of us than them, these Black men in these, institutions of higher education. This is something that is, unicorn has this unicorn effect. And so they feel like, they can kind of do or say whatever because they're the prize. And this is obviously a very broad and sweeping generalization. But, there was some of that you felt. And like I said, I dated a Black guy on campus. And I was like, why is my name? I'm not even available. Why
dang, why they even checking for you? Like, what?
Right. So, and then just, like you said, feeling like you could just not at all. Like, we're not checking for you. It's okay. And it's okay if you're not checking for us. But like, why do you have to put us down? And, why did that fly?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure it was like, even if you didn't hear the song, I'm sure it spread like a wildfire. Like everyone heard about it. Everybody knew. Yeah. Especially in those environments where the Black community isn't that big. Like things go through like that. Like, did you hear the song? Oh yeah, they named such and such. Yeah, girl. Like it just goes.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then I was also thinking about your earlier point about like having to be like the spokesperson for Black people and Black culture. Like in classroom situations, like I think that's definitely something too. I feel like we've kind of mentioned that in the past a little bit, Anna, but I think that's definitely something that does tend to happen, and it does add an added layer of anxiety. I was in school when Obama first got elected, and I remember like sitting in one of my classrooms, we're watching the inauguration, everyone turned to me, how does this make you feel? What are the thoughts? like good, like so it's like so many layers to it. I had this reading class and I remember looking at the syllabus, and like on week 10 we were talking about a poem titled The N-Word, and I was like, I don't know if I want to come to class that week for sure. It's just
real. That's so real.
Yeah.
So
real. I have a question. How did you know?
How did you know?
So our other segment that Anna kind of a little bit mentioned is how do you know? So it's the opposite of the last one, but like when you're on campus, was it like that key moment where you're like, okay, I like it here. I could do this. I can make it. Was there a moment like that?
I think it was the cheerleading thing. That was like a big thing that happened early on. And, that the larger Black community sort of rallied behind us too, and was like, oh my God, you guys did, that was like an amazing thing that you did. You know what I mean? And so that felt really, really good. And it felt like, okay, like this is going to be good. This is going to be cool. So I think that was probably the big moment for me.
That's awesome. And you did it all 4 years?
I did it all 4 years. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Vanessa.
Yeah.
This has been fun. Davidson, the home of Steph Curry.
And Vanessa's OG cheerleading squad.
Making history. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Step teams. Oh gosh, what was that? That was something, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was it was fun. And like I said, you kind of if you're in an environment like that, and you kind of just got to make it what it's going to be, right? The school is only going to give you so much, and you got to take it the rest of the way. If you want it, you got to do it. So we were fortunate enough to have resources and support to do the things that we felt like were important. So it was a good experience.
I love that. That's a good way to end. Thanks, Vanessa.
Thank you, guys.
Vanessa. Thank you for tuning in to the Head Nod Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on the Qube app and at DCP Official across social. Family, follow my sis Adell at I am Adell Coleman across all socials.
And follow the coolest to ever do it, Anna DeShawn at Anna DeShawn on all socials.
Listen wherever you get your podcasts. And if you really dig it, leave a rating and a review. Keep nodding your heads with us. Until next time, this is the Head Nod.